Well, welcome back to another episode of From the Vaults of the Beaumier Center. My name is Daniel Truckee. I'm director of the Beaumier Upper Peninsula Heritage Center. And we have two items here that you may be wondering, why would a museum have these in their collection? They're not very old, and they're not. These items are only just 20 or even younger than 20 years old. But I'll explain to you why they're in our collection for many different reasons. What we have here is a Palm Pilot from the 1990s, and this Kodak Easy Share camera and printer dock from the early 2000s. So let's start with the Palm Pilot here. This is a Palm 5 PDA from the Beaumier Center's collection, and it really represents two brief but highly influential moments, one in the history of handheld technology and one in the history of NMU itself. This Palm Pilot was owned by NMU's first and only female president, Judith Bailey, and it represents the technological changes that were occurring during her tenure during 1997 to 2003. The Palm 5 was a compact personal organizer that organized information such as contacts, schedules, reminders, and notes in a compact and easy-to-use setting, removing the need for bulky address books, planners, and Rolodexes. But it was also a proto-smartphone, bridging the gap between the cell phones of the early 1990s and the smartphone, which by 2001 were able to connect to the internet. By 2007, with the debut of the iPhone, the Palm Pilot quickly became obsolete. This is the fourth generation of the Palm Pilot, or Personal Digital Assistant, manufactured by the Palm Computer Incorporated in Sunnyvale, California. It is equipped with a backlit touchscreen and rechargeable lithium-ion battery, the first for Palm devices. And the Palm 5 possessed a black stylus around 4.5 inches in length, which slides into a slot on the right side of the device, and with an additional metal stylus included in the packaging. The stylus could be used to write in the graffiti writing area, which makes up the lower 3/4 inch of a screen. This particular model was released in February of 1999 at a market price of $449, and it operates on the 3.1 version of the Palm OS system. It has a 32-bit Motorola Dragon Ball microprocessor capable of 2.7 million instructions per second. The Palm 5's memory capacity is 2 megabytes. Now, while the Palm 5 in general has a wider place in the history of consumer technology, this device in particular belongs to a transitionary period in the history of NMU. On the inside cover of the actual casing, you will see here the card that identifies it as the owner of Judith I. Bailey, the president of the university. Now, Bailey came to NMU from the University of Maine, Orono, where she had served as the provost. She quickly mounted a major capital campaign effort which led to major additions and renovations to campus, including Weston Science Hall, Barry Event Center, the new Art and Design Building, and the Hedgecock Building transformation into a student services center. She also oversaw Northern's technological transformation into one of the most plugged-in campuses in the country, including the Laptop Initiative. In 2003, she left the university to become president of Western Michigan University. Now, considering that the Palm 5 was released in February of 1999, it is quite possible that President Bailey owned and used the device during the implementation of the Laptop Initiative, which made NMU one of the first universities in the nation to provide each student with their own laptop. Bailey's notes and meetings about the initiative and other important university affairs were probably logged on this very device, making it a witness to some of the most important changes that made NMU what it is today. Over to this item here. This is the Kodak EasyShare CX7430 Zoom digital camera, which is right now connected to the EasyShare Printer Dock 6000 by Kodak. If I take this off here, it combined an automatic point-and-shoot convenience with a 4 megapixel resolution and the new Kodak Color Science image processing chip, which could make prints up to 20 by 30 inches. The camera also featured a TV quality VGA capture, video capture and playback capability, an on-camera speaker, and an 80-minute capacity for video, depending on available memory and the SD card that you would have in it. The Kodak EasyShare CX7430 zoom digital camera was available worldwide beginning in March 2004, and the list price on it was $275. Now, the printer dock that you see here sold for $200 when it came onto the market. It was the world's first printer and camera dock combination, so that a person could just easily put the camera on here, and they would be able to print from the camera itself onto 4x6 photos directly from the camera just by the touch of a button, and no computer was required. It printed borderless prints, which were waterproof, 4x6 pictures, and this was available starting in February 2003. So this printer used a continual tone thermal dye transfer with extra life coating for waterproof prints that were supposed to last a lifetime. At least that's what it said it would do. But in fact, many people found that the pictures that these printed did not have a long lifespan, because if they were exposed to light, like if you put it on in a frame or if you put it on a refrigerator, they would fade over time. And it was one of the reasons why these ran out of favor for many people. It took 90 seconds to print a photograph with this, though the first photograph that you would print would take 120 seconds. It also would charge the camera battery in less than 3 hours, which was a nice thing. And it had a one-touch slideshow to TV from the camera while docked. The weight of the camera, or of this actual unit, was 34 ounces. And the film that you used, it was $14.99 for a Kodak color cartridge and photo paper kit that made 20 pictures, and $25 for 40 pictures, and $40 for 80 pictures. So the printer dock itself, eventually people still use these printing docks, but they're not as commonly used anymore for a number of reasons. I mentioned the picture issue, but also another thing is that a lot of places like drugstores and places like Target started offering their own photo services, where you could bring in the disc itself and they would print them up, sometimes better quality and larger versions than these. And so many people started going that route rather than using these printer docks, though some people do use them, as I mentioned. So you may be wondering why this item and these items are in our collection. Well, we are the collection for Northern Michigan University, and these were items that were used at Northern. Obviously, I've already explained this was used by Judith Bailey, and so it is a very important connection to an administrator at the university and many of the things that were going on at NMU at the time. This item here was actually the Beaumier Center's camera and digital printer when I came in 2007. And very quickly we realized that they weren't going to be adequate for what we needed. Even though they were only 4 years old, the technology had already grown so much that for about the same price we could get much better equipment. And so we bought a new digital camera that had more megapixels and the ability to take larger and more clear photographs, and a printer that could print much bigger things and much clearer as well, and the prints would last a lot longer. And so we decided at that time that this should go into the collection as a representation of the early part of the Beaumier Center's history and technology used on campus. But another reason for keeping these is that it is an initiative of the Beaumier Center, and should be of any historical collection, to be collecting things from the near past or the recent past. Oftentimes museums have items that are from 100 years ago or 50 years ago, but we don't think about items that are 10, 20 years old. And especially with technology and how fast it's changing today, it is so important that we try to keep up with items like this that have basically become obsolete, because it will help tell the story of technology over a large period of time. And we won't have these gaps in our collection, because if we waited 50 years to find one of these cameras or this or a Palm Pilot, we probably wouldn't be able to find them, or they would become incredibly expensive because they'd be so rare, because so many of these things were literally thrown into the dustbin and are not around anymore. You can find them on eBay now, but 50 years from now, you probably won't be able to. So that's why it's so important for a museum like ours to be collecting items from the recent past that are no longer being used. And also we have to think too about the media that they created. Is there going to be equipment 50 years from now that'll be able to read the images or the information that were on these? And it's possible they won't. But if we have them and they're still usable, you can still turn them on and plug them in, we might be able to recover information that is lost. So that's it for this week's From the Vaults of the Beaumier Center. I hope you enjoyed these really cool items, and next week we'll be back with something else.